The effects of social media during early adulthood, ages 18 to 25.
I'm Alexis.
I'm Jamin.
And I'm Christy. The questions we will explore are 1. What physiological effects does the use of social media have on young adults? 2nd, how does the pressure of maintaining an online presence or persona factor into the mental health of young adults? What are the cognitive effects of social media? And thirdly, how are relationships affected by social media? Social media can really be a great way for allowing people to reach out and stay connected, find new friends and communities for support, and as a platform to promote valuable causes and businesses. However, it can also have a negative impact on mental health in young adults. And by young adults, we're specifically referring to people between the age of 18 and 25 years old. Exposure to social media and the pressure of maintaining an online presence can have negative mental, cognitive, and physiological effects on young adults. Can also cause feelings of inadequacy about life, cause a negative self-appearance, and increase feelings of isolation, which can cause depression and anxiety. Social media can also affect relationships negatively and cause an increase in cyberbullying and emotional stress. Cyberbullying alone has been linked to stress and suicidal ideation.
According to research done by Pew Research Center, young adults use social media like Snapchat, Instagram, etc., more than other age groups. If you look at the example right here, you'll see that Snapchat and Instagram, their highest percentage of users would be 18 to 24, which is the early adulthood category.
What are the physiological effects of social media on young adults? Spending time with electronic gadgets is a new aspect of human life. Since the beginning of time, humans have lived without it, but now screen time is a major part of human life, and almost every young adult takes part. While there are many benefits to being connected online via our smartphone or personal computer, there are also many physiological effects that we need to be aware of. The first and most obvious is the strain on our eyes from prolonged viewing. Poor lighting, glare, and an improper viewing setting can lead to eye fatigue, blurred vision, eye dryness, and headaches. The light ingested during our screen time may also have a disrupting effect on the sleep patterns of young adults. Exposure to bright light and blue light emitted from self-luminous devices may suppress the production of melatonin and affect the timing when melatonin is produced, thereby causing a disruption in our circadian rhythm. Many young adults I know have also joked about their hand hurting after many hours of viewing their phone from one position. Like the overuse of keyboards has been shown to cause carpal tunnel syndrome, there are some negative effects from holding our phones too long. For example, prolonged use of smartphones has been shown in at least one study to be related to weaker hand grip and weaker pinch grip.
Does the pressure of maintaining an online presence factor into the mental health of young adults? Young adults feel anxious and restless when they can't get on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, etc., all the social media platforms. For example, it is also found that younger generations feel restlessness when they are not able to access messages of their social networking applications apart from their counterparts, giving rise to phantom vibration syndrome, end quote, by Drun and Rothberg, 2010. Uh, PVS is a result of addiction to social media, and people often get anxious when their phones aren't receiving any messages and they are frequently checking their phones. Social media can have positive reinforcement. These are like comments, likes, shares that come along with social media, which act as positive reinforcement because the user will post a picture and receive feedback, which would make them want to post more to get more attention from that. But also with that, there are positive and negative effects. For example, positive effects include socialization, enhanced communication, learning opportunities, and access to health information. while negative aspects include depression, online harassment, cyberbullying, sexting, fatigue, stress, suppression of emotional, and decline of intellectual ability. End quote, Karim Bashir, 2015. Unfortunately, there is sexual harassment and bullying, and it does go on social medias. On the brighter side, and hopefully this is the case for everyone, it enhances communication and makes it easier to keep in touch. What are the cognitive effects of social media? Social media causes the brain to react and want more because of the attention or lack of attention, but ultimately causes harm. For example, quote, neuroimaging studies revealed that being rejected based only on one's profile picture resulted in increased activity in the medial frontal cortex in both adults and children. And studies in adolescents showed enhanced pupil dilation, a response to greater cognitive load and emotional intensity to rejection, end quote, by Krohn and Koenig, 2018. There's also a lot of pressure to take photos and have a body that is hot or sexy enough to show off and to look good in pictures. I myself am a victim of that, and I know a lot of my age group is because we feel the need to compare each other to one another.
How are relationships affected by social media? Social media can lead to feelings of missing out, which can increase checking in on social media platforms, causing distractions in daily life. Like addictions, checking social media releases hormones in the brain. As anxiety increases, so does time spent scrolling on social media, which could be masking underlying conditions such as social anxiety and depression. In person, relationships can be directly affected by social media during times with eye-to-eye contact and conversing. According to scientificamerica.com, even the mere presence of a cell phone can have negative effects on feelings of face-to-face interactions. Studies have suggested that because of the many social, instrumental, and entertainment options phones afford us, they often divert our attention from our current environment. Whether we are speeding down a highway or sitting through a meeting, the new research suggests that cell phones may serve as a reminder of the wider network to which we could connect, inhibiting our ability to connect with the people right next to us. Cell phone usage may even reduce our social consciousness. That's from scientificamerican.com. Social media can become an addiction when it becomes a substitute for real life and human interaction or creates distractions that could have negative effects. Statistically speaking, social media can allow people to reach out and connect with others. It can also make some people feel worse. 25% of adolescents believe that social media has a mostly negative effect. It is concerning for young adults since 25% of 18 to 25-year-olds report having some form of mental illness. And that's from Mir et al., 2021. Cyberbullying is another problem, can be used to cause harm to individuals' reputation or mental health. Could lead to overwhelming feelings of hopelessness and isolation, poor body image, and even depression, which can negatively affect relationships. Another statistic is as many as 72% of teens say they've been cyberbullied at some point. Cyberbullying is more strongly correlated with suicide attempts than face-to-face bullying is. And unlike bullying that takes place in person, victims of cyberbullying cannot get away from it. It stays online and it happens out of sight of teachers and parents. Social media can be a great way for some to show their love and appreciation for each other. However, it can also cause the opposite effect, especially when comparing yourself or your own relationships to those seen online. Even the most simple change of a profile picture can show togetherness or show a breakup, just like the changing of a relationship status to in a relationship or to single. These displays of affection or lack thereof can cause embarrassment or emotional stress because they are public for everyone to see. A reputation risk stems from sharing inappropriate content which can destroy the sharer's reputation and the reputation of others. This is especially happens at workplaces or professional places. And regardless of whether a posting is based on true or false content, the more outrageous the posting, the quicker it tends to spread and harm reputations. This is also considered clickbait. And stalking others on social media has already become a normality. For example, returning to Facebook or Instagram profile of a former partner and spouse to see what they're up to is nowadays considered relatively harmless and normal. And how can the social media addiction affect relationships? When it becomes a substitute for real life human interaction, when people spend more time online, and it can create distractions that could have negative effects on professional relationships at work, at school, or even personal relationships with friends and family.
In conclusion, social media and screen time are a relatively new part of everyday life, with the phrase screen time first being used in 1991 in the way we understand it today. In 2020, the number of smartphone users globally rose to 3.5 billion, which is 9.3% more than in 2019. And since access and dependency to technology have only increased since then, the young adults of today are growing up in a world that no other generation has ever experienced, like one big experiment. Most sources seem to be coming back with the same conclusions about social media and screen time, from papers published by experts to amateur blog writers to our own gut feelings. There are some aspects that are concerning. And while there are definitely some positive effects, like the Me Too movement that got started online and spread through social media use, by which, consequently, many women who previously had remained silent about being sexually harassed came forward and openly discussed their experiences. But it seems that there are also some negative effects that young adults need to be aware of. The impact of social media on young adults is a new one. Being a young adult was already hard enough back when life's path was laid out by modeling their parents or grandparents. But now that the world is changing fast because of technological advancements, each new generation of adults will have to improvise and adapt to the changing world around them. One recent change is the need to have our phone regardless of any negative consequences. Internally, we understand the power that comes with it and have already made our choice. It is better to have our phones and computers for many reasons. And with new technological advances coming out all the time, like the monkey that can play video games with its mind, it seems that we still have not reached our limit on how much technology and social media will be part of our lives, and it would be wise to stay informed on the side effects. And that concludes our presentation.
Thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy, sex state.